Improve it. Improve it.
Podcast.
Improve It peeps, welcome to today's show. I am Erin, your host. Welcome to the Improve It podcast. If you are new here, just know that Improve It is not just a podcast. We are also a company. We help humans all over the world. We are an improv-infused talent development company for the new generation of work. So we use fun, laughter, play, to help you be the highest version of yourself. And then through that, you are going to take the notes, the things that you get from this show, and you're going to bring it back to the people that you lead. So I'm thrilled that you're here today. If you press play, it is no coincidence. We're talking all about eliminating imposter syndrome to optimize your performance today with a very special guest. Now, the day that this show airs is 2025, January 2025, and we always like to have a theme to guide our monthly shows or an intention. So we're talking this month, January 2025, all about momentum. And what a good word to start off a new year. I got to tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with momentum. A lot of times I am feeling real good. Momentum is strong. I'm in alignment with my assignment. I'm crushing it left and right. And sometimes good old imposter syndrome gets your girl and takes her downtown to Downsville, to Sucksville. And I stay there and everything in my life feels hard and arduous and not easy. I was out to coffee recently with a colleague of mine, and we are both business owners and we're talking about our business. And she brought up this concept of imposter syndrome. And she said, Erin, how have you gotten outside of the imposter syndrome? How did you press play on the microphone for your show? How did you start talking on big keynote stages? How did you write a book? All of the things. And I looked at her and I said this: your professional development is a direct relationship to your personal development. Let me say it again. Your professional development is a direct relationship to your personal development. And I have to tell you, there has been a lot of work that I have done on myself internally in the past 4 years. I will say truly the past 4 years, I have done a ton of digging into what was holding me back, the limiting beliefs that I carried from my childhood, the energy that I allowed other people to put into my body to make me feel like I wasn't worthy of having a podcast, of owning a business, of leading a team, stepping on large stages. And today's guest is going to help us combat all of those imposter syndrome feelings that plague us day in and day out. I have what works for me, but of course, you know, on this show, I love to bring in experts, and today's guest is an expert. We have Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. She is a master mindset and business consultant with over 2 decades of experience, and she's empowered more than 20,000 leaders to optimize their performance through emotional intelligence and empathetic leadership, which is something you know we love on this show. She's often hailed as the imposter syndrome killer, and she advises Fortune 500 companies on cultivating high engagement workplace cultures that attract and retain top talent. So we are going to have so many insightful conversations. So many hilarious things came out of today's show. I'm excited for you to hear. And also some inspiring stories, mantras, and exercises that you can take with you to help eliminate that imposter syndrome and optimize your performance at work and in life. So if you click play today, you want to overcome those limiting beliefs. You want to stop freaking playing small and bring some real momentum to your life and work. If you click play, you're sick of feeling like you don't have a seat at the table and you want the tools to help you bring your own folding chair. Or if you clicked play, it's because you want a jumpstart to the year and the toolkit to help you do it. I will tell you today's show has some explicit language. So if you've got little ones running around, grab your headphones, turn down the volume in your car, but it gets real and it gets funny and it also is super tangible. So grab a pen and paper and let's improve it with the incredible Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. Victoria Jenn, welcome to the Improve It Pod. I am so freaking stoked to chat with you. I am thrilled in many different ways. You're a podcast host. You help entrepreneurs. You help people in corporate America. You help people all over the world. But welcome to the show. Thank you for having us. Or thank you for coming here.
For having me.
Us. Yeah. Thank you for having us. Oh my God. Okay. So this is January, right? We're talking about momentum in the new year. So let's set in one word intention for you and the show. Maybe it's something you want to give yourself. Maybe it's something you want to give our audience, the Improve It peeps. What is a one word intention that you want to set for today's show?
My one word intention that I would like to set January. So new year, new you kind of vibe. Consistency.
Ooh. Hey, man. Hey, man. Yes, I am so here for that. And give me a little bit more. Why consistency?
I truly believe that consistency literally is what is either propelling you or keeping you stuck. Period.
That's right.
And so the more consistent you are in something, the more successful you will be. And so many of our areas of opportunity, many of what we might consider shortcomings or not being in a position where we believe we should be is really because we're not consistent in showing up in that space, whether that's doing the homework, doing the research, going to the gym, showing up, on social media, whatever it is, whatever the goals are that you have for yourself. 9 times out of 10, consistency is the reason why you haven't been able to accomplish it.
Yes. And I think consistency and momentum just go hand in hand, knowing like that's our overall intention for the show this month too.
Okay.
Is there a time too in your life where you've been consistent and it guided you to momentum, either personally, professionally? What was your mindset like at that time?
So, lost 30 pounds, and consistency is what allowed me to reach that destination. And beyond just losing the 30 pounds, that consistency also added to my overall mental health, how I felt about myself, my level of confidence, how I showed up out in the world, how I showed up in rooms, how I showed up for family, for loved ones, etc. And so that consistency had so many value adds in different facets of my life. That's how I know. That's how I know consistency is the secret. But also thinking about my business and how I help my clients. My clients get results by being consistent, right? I get results in building out my business by being consistent. So I would say my most recent share is losing the 30 pounds from being consistent, eating right, eating clean, taking my booty to the gym, doing the stuff we all don't love to do, but need to do in order to get to a desired destination.
Oh my God, I love it. Congratulations. I needed that little jump start today. That was for me, honestly. Okay. I needed that reminder because it's like you can do it. And like we've all done things in our lives. Like we've all gotten to this point because of consistent action, right? But it's just sometimes even just that reminder to be consistent and even, posting a picture of yourself now versus 30 pounds ago, which you look beautiful. You didn't need to lose 30 pounds. You look beautiful as is. But,
I'm a beautiful, chunky girl. Like, don't get it twisted. And I'm so confident as a chunky girl. But I also know the difference in how I feel.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
totally. And it's a mindset. I mean, truly, I think for me, movement is medicine. Like I used to hate working out, but for me, it's a mindset. It's a mental game. And I do feel better when I eat whole foods and not Funyuns, which is shocking, but
the audacity of it all.
I know. How dare them? Why do they make them so good? So, okay, let me get to speaking of food, let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's show because I really loved your take on imposter syndrome. When I was doing research for this show, I was really excited. And it just so happens that we had an Improve It peep, a member of our community, ask us a question. So let's hear from a member of our community all about imposter syndrome because people want to know. The people are asking.
Hey, Erin. What are some practical strategies you recommend for someone who feels overwhelmed by imposter syndrome in their workplace?
So, as you know, we have a lot of peeps to listen to this show, mostly corporate America. We also have some aspiring entrepreneurs, I would say. So we're going to dive into this in just a moment. I want to take a step back because obviously the person who sent this in remained anonymous for a reason. I think all of us have had imposter syndrome many times in our lives. If you're a human being, you've experienced it, right? So what would you say are some common signs that someone is struggling with imposter syndrome and how can you spot them?
Yeah. So I always like to begin talking about imposter syndrome from a place of celebration. Because if you are experiencing imposter syndrome, it means that you are putting yourself in environments that are stretching you, that are, you might be the only, you might be one of many, which are all environments that are going to help you grow to become the best version of you. So my hope is we switch our mindset around imposter syndrome and not thinking there's something wrong with us, but really looking at it that, oh, wow, this is good. This is good that I'm experiencing this because this is telling me I'm coloring outside the lines, like I'm growing. So that anonymous caller, my hope is after listening to this, she will no longer feel like she needs to be anonymous in talking about imposter syndrome. Because it's very common, right? If you think about people like Sheryl Sandberg from previous Facebook, Michelle Obama, J-Lo, all of these women who we look to and we're like, wow, they're like killing it. Like they're at the top of their game in their peak. All of them within the last 12 months have mentioned that they experience imposter syndrome. So actually, the further you go in your career and the more progress you make in your career, you will have multiple experiences and episodes of experiencing, wow, do I really belong in this room? Even though I have all these accolades, I put in the sweat equity, I have the degrees, I went to school, I got the student loans to prove it. Like, do I really belong in this room? Right? Or maybe you're the only one in your family who went to corporate, right? Who's making six figures. You're the first one, right? And so you feel like, do I really belong in this room? Because everyone that is close and near and dear to me have never been in these rooms before. So do I really belong? And so we need to make sure that we are understanding of what imposter syndrome really is and that it's a very good thing and an indication that you are growing. So to answer your question about some signs that you're experiencing imposter syndrome, so the first is walking into rooms and feeling like you don't belong, even though you put in the sweat equity. Another one is you just feeling lucky to have that job. You just feeling so lucky to make the money that you're making, when in fact, all of the signs point in the direction of, oh no, you deserve that job. You deserve that salary because you actually worked your ass off to get it, right? Another sign is you always thinking like, I can't fail. Like, I can't fail. I can't fail, even though all the data tells us that the more you fail, the more successful you are. Like you actually want to fail a lot and you want to fail fast because you're actually going to grow from those lessons. Another indication is you feel like a fraud, like somebody's going to find me out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm an imposter in here. Like I don't belong in here. I'm a total fraud. And then lastly is you think success is like no big deal. Like this is just like what it is. Like, yeah, I went to school. Yeah, I got the degree. Yeah, I'm making six figures. Yeah, I just made partner. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to so many of those, and I feel like anybody listening is if you're the caller, okay, thank you, and it's a good thing, as Victoria Jenn said, which I love. I also want to think about if I'm leading a team of people, and I have somebody on my team who I think is struggling and might be feeling imposter syndrome type symptoms. Would these signs be similar? Would they be different? How would I know? Let's say Susan, we'll call her Susan. Okay, hypothetical Susan on my team hasn't been showing up as she normally would. Would these same signs be applicable to her? Or are these more internal feelings?
These are universal feelings.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a woman of color, it triples. So they are universal in the sense that it doesn't matter if you're in corporate, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if you're a stay-home mom, like it doesn't matter. You're going to feel the feels because all of us have experienced imposter syndrome. And all of us have experienced imposter syndrome more than once, especially for your listeners, because I know your listeners are ambitious. And if you're ambitious, honey, imposter syndrome is all up in your space.
All up in it every day. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when you mentioned that, like I loved when you said, if you're experiencing it, it's a good thing. I had to tell myself even this morning, I'm like, okay, stop playing small. Like we're not playing small anymore. It's time to go big. And the more risk you take, the higher the imposter syndrome, would you say? Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And when you are graduating to the next level of yourself, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, your imposter syndrome, all of these things are going to come up for you because you're uncomfortable. It's a space you've never been in before. Like you're thinking differently. The responsibility is different. The pressure is different. All of these things are playing at the same time. And don't even get me started. Are the majority of your listeners mainly women? Because I want to make sure I'm not I'm being inclusive.
Well, I do know we have male listeners. We love them. But when we look at the data, when we pull the Spotify data, it's majority women.
Okay.
But we love non-binary. We love you all. Everyone.
Yes. We love everyone and we're inclusive of everyone. So the majority of your listeners are women. That means that every new level that we graduate to, we have health things that are going on as a woman that also add and fuel the self-doubt. So if you think about like infertility, if you think about postpartum, if you think about perimenopause, like all of these things that only happen to women in the sense that like our body's going through it. Because again, the fellas, you're going through it with us too, just in a different way. We get that. But we have all these other health things that just come with being a woman that also comes into play, right? That literally our biology makes us doubt ourselves.
Yes.
When we're going through those transitions. So there's a lot of things at play here that is driving this. So I don't want you to feel alone. I don't want you to take it personal. It literally is a result of you being a woman.
God, it's so freaking true. Like, and depending where we are in the month, like you could feel a lot of imposter syndrome or like flushing it. Speaking of perimenopause, did a whole show about it. Okay. Totally thought I was there last year and I was just having massive anxiety, turns out. But it's truly, it's biological. Like our hormones cause this. So I love that, right? We can feel alone and realize that and turn to a woman and be like, we're in this together because it's so true. So, okay, can I ask you, is there any moment from your own career journey where you felt like an imposter? And then I'm sure there is. And could you tell us how you overcame it?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like my most recent experience with imposter syndrome was launching my podcast last year. I had never launched a podcast before. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was spending my own money. I was bootstrapping this thing, spending money on things that I didn't necessarily know was a smart investment or not. There were so many podcasts out there. So yeah, I felt like, can I really do this? Like, do I belong in this space? Can I really make this into what my vision is setting it up to be? And the way that I work through the imposter syndrome, and this is how you can work through imposter syndrome, regardless of who you are, where you're located, what job you have, marital status, gender, doesn't matter, is by you creating things and getting things done. Because you making the progress and you being consistent is what's going to help you alleviate the imposter syndrome. So by me continuing to record, by me continuing to market, by me continuing to do it even when I didn't feel like it, by me doing it scared is what has gotten us to over 11 million impressions. It's what has gotten us into every major press outlet in the New York tri-state area and on the West Coast. It's what just had me interview the mayor of New York City. So you have to continue to move. You have to continue to create and get things done to fight through the emotion of it all. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, it so makes sense. And you're talking about so many things we've already talked about: consistency, momentum, all of those things consistently showing up, even when you didn't want to. I love it. It makes so much sense. Kudos to you. That's a shit ton. We're going to eat this show a shit ton of downloads. Downloads? 11 million downloads?
No, not downloads.
Okay.
Which means that 11 people have touched the podcast in some way, whether it was on social media, whether it was a download, YouTube, in the press. Collectively, 11 million people have had their eyes on Big Al.
I mean, put that on a billboard immediately. And I'm like, you're the coolest. Let me say this for free. Okay. This is hard. And I will say, I'm going to sympathize with you, empathize. Like 4 years ago, pressing play, I did not feel worthy of having a microphone. I was like, what am I going to talk about? Right. And I mean, this show has, and you and I were talking about this before we even hit record, has created so many amazing connections and relationships and opportunities, and has given so much service to what we call our peeps. That's our community, the peeps. And it has just, I'm so grateful for it every day, but I would be remiss in sitting here and saying it was an easy journey to do the same thing. And for you to say, hey, a year ago, I'm about to do this and I'm about to crush it and put myself out there. Kudos. Like it's not easy, because every single moment you're being vulnerable. This is a vulnerable moment. You're showing up and doing it. So I love that story so freaking much. People come here for several reasons. You know, we use improv, we gamify things, we have fun, we make things activity based, right? So is there any practical exercise that you have that would help teams or people build their own confidence individually or as a group that could combat imposter syndrome? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yes.
Maybe it's even okay, let's do it.
Let's go. I actually would love to walk you through my don't panic framework.
Please. Yes. I'm here. I'm like, hold on, wait. Let me sit up. Y'all can't see this. Can we all put the whole thing? I am making myself erect. Okay. By that, I mean, I'm sitting up tall. That was a weird way to say that. And I am preparing, because you know who needs this? Me.
Let's go. So don't panic framework. First part of the framework is self-awareness. If we want any transformation in our life, if we want to turn the page, if we want to improve, if we want to let go, we need to first be self-aware enough to know what causes our thoughts of self-doubt, limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome. Is it before you're going to go speak to a boardroom? Is it when you're going to have a difficult conversation? Is it when you need to fire someone? Is it when you got to give a performance review? Like, when does the imposter syndrome come up for you? So that's number one. The second part of the framework is one of my favorite parts, and it's called Badassery Committee, which means that you need to have 5 to 7 people on your Badassery Committee. This is a very prestigious role that you respect, that know your accolades, know the contributions, know the success, that you can call in your moments of self-doubt, and they can revitalize you. They can light the fire under your ass again. They can make you feel new. They can make you feel alive again, so that whatever you're about to walk into, they've already prepped you up and you're good to go. I have people on my committee that I have called on before when I've had to speak in front of 1,000 people. And I was like, this is the most people I've ever spoken to live before. I don't know. And they had to like really remind me of my badassery. So it's very important for you to have members on your badassery committee. Mirror self-talk. So before anyone else can believe who you aspire to become, you first have to believe that you are already that person. And so it's important for you to literally look at yourself in the mirror and become your own best friend. And for some folks, that's a little uncomfortable, right? Because we don't like to face ourselves. We kind of sometimes suppress things, and we like having the mask on, and we like not doing the yucky work, the stuff that gets us uncomfortable, the stuff that has us crying, like, rather not. But it's important for you to do that work, because if you believe it, naturally other people will believe it as well. And when you speak it aloud, it not only helps you digest what you said, and this is data, scientific data, like you hearing your own voice repeat out loud of who you aspire to be, who you are in this moment, and all of the strengths that you have right now signals to yourself that this is true. It signals to the universe as well. And it also allows other people to gravitate towards you, because people gravitate to confidence. People gravitate to people who are comfortable in their own skin. People want to work with people who walk into a room and own it. Like, people want to be associated with that energy, right? So it's important for you to embody that energy yourself. And it starts with talking to yourself. Like, literally, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I'll literally be in the supermarket talking to myself. And I know people are looking at me, but I'm like, you know what? We're in the age where people got, earphones.
Yeah.
But I'm literally talking to myself. Like,
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Good.
Yes. Yes, girl, you freaking got this. Stop playing this, right? Literally talking to myself in the middle of the street. I don't care, because I'm my own best friend, right?
That's right.
And all the answers live within me.
Absolutely.
And we need to believe that, because if we don't believe it, other people are not going to believe it either.
Love, 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 love. Okay, keep going.
Yes. And then the final part of the framework is only a 4-step framework, is celebrate wins. The gift and the curse of the ambitious, and I'm sure your peeps can relate to this, is that we get things done, we're executors, but we're also never satisfied. So once we reach one goal, we're like, okay, on to the next goal. Gotta be bigger. Gotta go, to the next level, right? And we never take a moment to just settle in and be like, wow, I did that. I killed it. Like, I really did that. Incredible. And like, be proud of yourself. And it could be as small as you making your bed in the morning, you going to the gym in the morning, you skipping the coffee and going straight to water. Like, it doesn't need to be grand. It doesn't need to be you just put a down payment on a new house. Literally everything that you do every day, making your kids lunch, right? Even though you had a crazy morning, like, everything that you do is a win. And so we have to celebrate those wins and not forget of everything that you have accomplished to like get to this point, and celebrate yourself. It's so, so, so important.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay. Can you repeat them back for me? Our 4-step process. Number 1.
Self-awareness.
Number 2.
Badassery committee.
Yes. I'm like already thinking of my 5 to 7 people. Everyone think of your own 5 to 7 people. Okay, keep going. Number 3.
Mirror self-talk.
Number 4.
Celebrate wins.
Love, love, love. I love this exercise. I'm so glad I asked that question. I mean, and you could do a combination of them or all 4. You could pick one and start, right? Because I feel like any one of those is going to help us, especially if you see a team member struggling. Why not have somebody have their own badassery committee? Why not have everyone on your team make their own badassery committee? And when they're not feeling like themselves in front of a presentation, or maybe they have to have a hard conversation, they have a list on their phone of that badassery committee that they can call up to hype them up in that moment.
Yeah.
Right?
And how cool would it be if your team had their own language where if a team member's like, I got to ring up the committee, you already know what that means. And everybody's like, oh, wow, they got a committee? Like, what they are part of? They don't even know. They don't even know what you about, right? But it's like the language amongst the team where, okay, go ahead, go do that.
Go call the committee.
But even just saying aloud that you have a committee, what do you mean?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Level of pedigree already established.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so this is a personal question, but I'm hoping it can help the peeps people. Do you have, I've never called them the peeps people before. I don't know why I said peeps people. But do you have a mantra or an affirmation that you constantly use when imposter syndrome strikes? Is there anything that you say consistently to get yourself out of that space?
Do you want the PG version?
We're already going to eat. We're already going to explicit the show. So no, give me the R. Give us the real deal.
Okay. So, something that I literally say to myself every morning, looking at myself, because remember, I'm my own best friend, is like, wow, B, you really that bitch. Like, you really that bitch, girl. Like,
I am that bitch, like a little Lizzo moment. Yes. Oh my God. I freaking love it. And you know what? Like that mirror talk, and that was another one of your exercise, but that mirror talk and like saying something to yourself and looking yourself in the eyes and meaning it.
Yes.
It changes you, right?
And like, even if you don't mean it in that moment, the more you repeat it.
Yeah.
Like a good exercise also for the peeps is for 15 days straight, look in the mirror and say, I'm a bad bitch. I'm that bitch. Right?
Yes.
15 days straight in the morning when you get up and before you go to bed. And I promise you, if you do this consistently, that's our word, right? You will begin to see a shift in your mindset and your behavior and just how you show up. Period.
Yes.
You're going to see a difference.
Okay. I freaking love this. This is giving us so many tangibles. Okay. So we talked, about your 4-step exercise for yourself to combat imposter syndrome. And you can pick and pull things out of that to do with your team. Is there another activity that comes to mind for a team that could help foster confidence and reduce feelings of imposter syndrome? Or would you say pull out one of those 4 things and take it to the team?
So a good exercise for a team to do together is what I call a sweat equity slide. And this sweat equity slide is basically a snapshot of all the amazing things that you have accomplished. So for me, on my sweat equity side, I literally have the logos of like all of the organizations I've worked with, all of the brands that I've consulted on. It literally is like my one-stop shop to say what to myself, like, wow, B, you really that good, right?
Yes.
So it's a good team exercise because a lot of us don't take the time out to do that work.
Yeah.
So there's stuff that we accomplished 3 years ago that we forgot all about. We don't even consider it anymore. And it's like, what are you talking about? That's important. That's what got you to where you are right now. Like, you need to remember. And so if you have like a team meeting, set 30 minutes for people to create a sweat equity slide. And then if you know that a team member is like feeling a certain way or they're nervous about going to talk to senior leadership, tell them, hey, go call your badassery committee and take a peek at your sweat equity side.
Oh my God, I love it. It's not a vision board. It's like hey, these are the visions you accomplish board.
Correct. This is what you accomplish. Correct.
Sweat equity slide. Okay, that is going in the hopper. I love it so freaking much. Now, this is a fun question because, we like to have fun around here. If you could write a theme song for overcoming imposter syndrome, what would be the title? And if you could sing a line or two, I would be like,
oh my God.
Nailed it. But if you could name a song, any theme song
that exists today, or is it
your own original song?
Imperfections are sexy. Flaws are power. Own who you are. Be your own desire. Oh my God, girl, I need to.
Okay, I need everyone to know what happened. You literally just like inhaled excellence. You were like, hold on. Just like, let me take, like, there was no edit there. Okay. That was just like a second pause. And then you were like, inhale excellence. That was so amazing. Now you need to have you need a producer. Okay. That's what today brought to you.
Listen.
Oh my God.
That's the New York in me.
That was incredible. You need to change the theme song of your podcast to that.
For real. Oh my God, that's such a good idea.
Wait, I'm not even kidding you.
Back to this. I need that. That's such a good idea.
Wait, I have to tell you this. A guest on this show actually taught me how to do that. It's an app called Suno, S-U-N-O. Okay, S-U-N-O. And it's like an AI app to create music, and you can feed it lyrics and tell them what you want the song to be about. It's like $5 a month or something. And then it creates songs, and you can, whatever genre music you want, you got to do that. That's your new podcast theme show.
Yes, I know. When we finish recording, we got to like play it back so I can get exactly what I said.
You never know with weird questions like that what you'll get. And that was like incredible. I'm dying right now. Okay. I could talk to you forever. We could make music. But this could be an incredible show. Any last takeaway that you have for leaders when it comes to helping their teams deal with imposter syndrome?
Yeah, yeah. I might have to add lyricist to my sweat equity.
Yeah.
Just there.
I mean, no, you're gonna need a whole new sweat equity slide
I know.
that it talks about your new career, because this is
For real. Okay, last thing I want to leave with folks. Oh man, this is it right here. You're seeing it live in action. Like, infuse more laughter. Like, be goofy. Like, be okay with failing and failing in public. Like, so many people don't come up to bat because they're so afraid of how they will be perceived or failing or what people will say. And so they don't even go after it. Like, they psych themselves out before it's even their opportunity to actually like hit the home run. And so I want to leave this with folks is enter into your era of not caring about what other people think, and your imposter syndrome will decrease incredibly if you enter into that era. And I know some of that comes with wisdom and age. You feel a little bit more like, okay, but it really never goes away. I don't know if you saw this Ellen DeGeneres documentary on Netflix.
just thinking about it when you said that.
Yeah.
And I've only seen the beginning where she's like, and I do care what people think. I haven't made it to the end. Because tell me, okay.
Yes. Well, basically what I took away from that was, she failed perceived by America, failed in public, right? But what it really did for her was actually get her more comfortable in her own skin. So even though she cares about what other people think because we're human beings, that's never going to go away. What she cares most about is what she thinks about herself.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah, it's okay for you to still care what other people think, but you need to make sure that your opinion matters more.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, I love it so much. And I have to tell you, there's so much grace in that. There was a period of my time where I gave 0 Fs. And I'm going to tell you when that was. College. I literally gave 0 Fs. And it was one of
girl, in our youth. Yes, we have this thing about us that we just have this, like, we're taking more risk. We're doing more. Like, in your college careers, you felt like on fire, right?
Oh my God. I literally remember walking into rooms and being like, you're welcome. Like I genuinely did. Like, and I tell you, my girlfriends and I talk about this. I'm like, now I have all this anxiety that creeped in as a mom, like all these things. And I'm like, how do I go back to that girl? Because even though she did some dumb things, she had her mindset right. And I was still a kind human. I did care what people thought. I wanted them to feel loved when I walked into that space, but I also didn't have like the fear of imposter syndrome. So I love this. Victoria Jenn, you are incredible.
Thank
we
you.
Always ask, okay, this is the last thing. We always ask our guests, we say it and prove it, that it is that thing that you were put on this earth to do. Improve it. What is the thing? What is your it that you were put here to do?
My it is to be a beacon of light so that others come into my space so I can remind them of the badass that they are. Like, I truly believe that is why I am on this planet.
I see it and feel that. You can add me to your badassery committee.
Hey, I love. Listen, when you got people volunteering to be on your committee, you know you're doing something right.
Yes. I will be your hype woman anytime, no matter what time of the month it is. Okay, and I'll do it consistently. How about that? Amazing. And if you throw in the lyrics, and we'll have an amazing duo. I'm so happy you've been on the show. Improve It peeps. You have to follow. You have to connect with Victoria Jenn. You have to check out her show. Tell them where they can find all those things.
Yes. So my podcast is called Banking on Cultura, and cultura means culture. And the whole premise of the show is to really show you how to embrace where you come from, your experiences, the mistakes, the flaws, all the things. How do you embrace all of that to use it as a competitive advantage versus an Achilles heel? And so we spend a lot of time on how do you utilize your culture in order to do that. And we talk about entrepreneurship, how to start a business, how to scale it up. And then we have some bonchinche, which is tea, right? We got to make sure we keep things entertaining, right? and get kind of the behind the scenes of what people are going through. So that's the show, Banking on Cultura. We are on every single platform. So wherever you tune into podcasts, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever, we are there on the scene. And then please connect with me on social media, especially if you're in the Peeps community. Like, reach out and let me know. Like, hey, I heard you. I'm one of the Peeps. I love meeting members of the community, and you can find me at IAM Victoria Jenn, JENN. So you can catch me on the social media streets there, and then LinkedIn, Victoria Jenn Rodriguez.
I will make sure all of those things are linked in the show notes.
Fabulous.
We are so honored to have you. This was so fun, and keep going. Keep shining your light consistently and writing more songs. The world needs you. Okay.
Thank you.
Improve It, peeps. I could talk to, well, I'm going to call her V because I feel like we're there now, V all day. And she is a badass bitch. Okay. I also just really loved her energy and how she gave us those tangible exercises to do alone or with our teams. So one of my favorite takeaways from today was the badassery committee. And your homework is to think of 5 to 7 people in your life who are your badassery committee. Write down their names, put it on a note in your phone so you have it whenever those imposter syndrome strike. I also love this idea of a sweat equity slide to come back to and create with your team. I'll tell you, the Improve It team is going to be making that real quick because we need those reminders that we are worthy, we exist in these spaces, we have seats at the table, and we belong there because we do. Life is what you make it. And I said this at the top of the show, and I'm going to say it again. Your professional development is a direct relationship to your personal development. So work on imposter syndrome. Allow yourself to feel more confident in your mind and in your body because we need you. We need your light. And if you're listening to this show, my friend, you are a light worker. You care about the world and the people that you lead. So take the time. Take the time to give to you today. You already did that by pressing play on today's show, but I want you to continue to do that in the week to come. Oh, my peeps. You know what I'm going to say? I want you to keep failing, keep improving because this world needs that very special it that only you can bring. I'll see you next time.
Improve it. Improve It
Podcast.